we're going to be talking about a topic that's so important and so prevalent. And I know it's every year we got to get the flu vaccine. Do you have the flu? And it's always, do I have the flu? Do I have a cold? What's going on? While the flu vaccine and the flu has been prevalent for so long, it's still a question of, okay, what is the flu? So in short, the flu is from influenza, which is the virus, and it's a respiratory virus. It causes a fever usually. It makes you really tired. It gives you a cough, and oftentimes it's associated with muscle ache. So your bones kind of hurt and you feel lethargic and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get up off the couch. Can I do it? Can I not do it? Sometimes also the flu can be associated with a headache, with diarrhea. Some people even get constipation, but with a sore throat, runny nose, and congestion. So it's tough to kind of differentiate this from a cold. It's usually more severe than a cold. And it's also a little bit sometimes tough to differentiate this from COVID. And COVID has some of the same symptoms. And so when you're trying to see, okay, do I have the flu? Do I have a cold? Do I have COVID? It's kind of in the middle. So you have COVID as the worst. If you're having like shortness of breath and chest pain, that would be something where you want to go seek more medical care, and it might be something more serious. However, if it's for maybe like 24 hours, you feel a little under the weather and then it goes away, that's more likely to be common cold. So the way that the flu is tested, again, it's a respiratory virus. So it's spread when I cough on you, when my droplets from my mouth go onto somebody else. It's spread if there's droplets anywhere. So if somebody had the flu and they sneezed or coughed on my water bottle, and then I grabbed my water bottle, I could also get the flu because I would touch my water bottle and then I might touch my face or my nose, and then the particles and the flu germs will all go in me and then I'll get the flu. So the way that the flu is tested to see if you have the flu or not is through a nasal swab. Similar to how you get a COVID swab to see if you have COVID, you can do a nasal swab to see if you have the flu. So the muscle aches, the sore throat, the runny nose, the high fever, and it'll get progressively worse, and it tends to last about 7 to 10 days is kind of the course of it. So it can be a pretty long time. There are treatments. There is a lot of symptomatic help that you can do to prevent it. And interestingly enough, if you wear a mask can help prevent COVID and it can help prevent the flu. When we saw when everyone started masking, it kind of helped make the flu infection rates go down because everyone had a mask, and so you're preventing droplets from spreading. Influenza, again, is the virus that is what the flu virus is. What can you do if you get it? Well, there's a couple of things. Oral hydration is of the utmost importance. It is a virus that's attacking your body. So you kind of want to flush the virus out, and all the hydration that you do, water, IV electrolytes, Gatorade, Powerade, whatever it is going to kind of help your body say, okay, I have enough liquid. I'm like, because you have the flu, oftentimes you have fever, so you're like burning hot too. And the liquids are going to help with diarrhea if you're having stomach problems. It also makes your appetite sometimes go down. And so you want to ensure that you're consuming enough liquid. Hydration, hydration, hydration. And then you can also take symptomatic relief. So you can take like Tylenol or ibuprofen if your body is a lot, and that should help with some of the muscle aches and the muscle pains. Steam showers can help because oftentimes you get congested. So if you're taking a steam shower, the hot steam can help break up some of the particles and some of the congestion in your nose. Another thing is like Vicks vapor rub. So you can take a little bit and rub it usually on your neck, and there's like this like little vapor Vicks smell vapor stick, and that can help too. Sometimes if you catch it early enough, you can also get prescribed Tamiflu. Tamiflu is an antiviral agent, and that can help, kind of similar to the antiviral agents we talked about when people get COVID. Tamiflu can help fight the flu virus. Sometimes if it's been, you can't get rid of it, if it's been more than like 7 days, you need to go see a provider because it might have progressed. It might have become pneumonia. It could have progressed to a sinus infection because that bacteria can build up. It can cause you to accumulate the viral load, the amount of virus in your body can build up, and then it can cause bacteria to also grow in that area too. So now you have bacteria and virus growing in that area, and that can make you even more sick. And so that's when you need to seek additional. For that, there's a lot of symptomatic treatment that you can do. We want to stop it before it gets to that level. So we want to prevent as much as we can, prevent you guys from getting sick so we don't have to deal with all the complications later. So how do you prevent the flu? Well, the biggest thing is vaccination, hand washing, your ABCs, 20 seconds, hand wash, hand wash, hand wash. I cannot stress that enough. It's spread through respiratory droplets. So the respiratory droplets can be anywhere. If washing your hands, even if you sneeze on my water bottle, I pick up my water bottle, but I wash my hands before I touch my face or eyes, then there's a less likelihood that it's going to spread, that I'm going to catch the flu as well. And again, wearing a mask can help prevent because it's spread through respiratory droplets. How is the flu spread? Respiratory particles traveling in the air. So if you cough or sneeze on somebody, that's why you gotta cough in your elbow, sneeze in your elbow, but try to, especially if you're sick, stay home. I know that it's sometimes tough. If you or your kids aren't feeling well, it's better to just be precautionary and to stay home to prevent your child from getting more sick and also to prevent the other kids from getting sick too. And you don't know who's living with immunocompromised people and who getting the flu can be a worse ordeal than just the flu. Again, touching contaminated surfaces and person to person is how the flu can be spread. When are you contagious? You are most contagious 24 hours before you start showing symptoms and 3 to 5 days after symptoms start. So you might not even know that you have it, but you can spread it. And that's why we're so big on vaccination, because you might be giving a hug to your sister and your sister could be completely fine, no symptoms, no nothing. She might have the virus in her, but it might be 24 hours before her symptoms start to show, and therefore she can still infect you. However, if you're vaccinated, the likelihood of that is much less, and you're less contagious about 5 days after symptoms start. So that's when you can usually return to work. Kids are particularly susceptible. So kids and the elderly above 65, below like 16, usually below 12 even, but like young kids and older adults are more susceptible and have a greater risk of getting more sick and of being more contagious, having more viral particles in their body. It can spread faster, it can spread more. How do we prevent getting the flu? Get vaccinated, and visiting your PCP or your local vaccination center for specific information is usually the best way to go, because based on locality and based on availability, it's different. But the flu shot is something that you need to get. I cannot tell you how often I get asked, why do I need to get the flu vaccine again? And the reason why is because the flu is a virus. So it's constantly morphing and changing. Last year, the flu might have been the strain that was most prevalent, and the strain that most people were catching might have been influenza A. Whereas this year, it might be influenza B. So the flu vaccine is great because there's tons of people doing a lot of research and they're figuring out which mutations of the flu are the most prevalent based on past years and this year. And they create a vaccine to target those most prevalent strains. It doesn't mean that the vaccine will target every single strain, but it will target the most prevalent strains. And so hopefully your likelihood of getting sick are a lot less. But the reason that there's a new vaccine every year is because every year the vaccine is morphing. So you've got to keep your body strong. You got to keep protected against whatever it is, and you got to keep your immunity built up. Say last year's vaccine had predominant protection against influenza A, so you might have some protection against one strain of the flu, but then this year the strain of the flu that's prevalent is different, and so you got to have the immunity for that one too. Again, so we'll talk a little bit about when flu season is, but the virus is constantly changing, so our vaccine changes, and we got to keep getting boosted to keep building our muscles. If you go to the gym one time and then you never go back again, yes, you might be able to lift the grocery bags for 1 week, but then if you don't keep building those muscles, they're going to fatigue and forget how to lift. So we got to keep building our immune system to keep it strong to fight the flu. What is the vaccine this year? The vaccine this year is something called a trivalent vaccine, meaning that it protects against 3 different strains of the flu. The 3 particular strains of the flu are the strains that, based on last year's data and previous data, that researchers think are going to be the most prevalent this year, that are going to affect the most people this year, and that we've got to be protected against. So last year was like a quadrivalent vaccine, so it protected against 4 strains. This year it's a trivalent vaccine. That's the new vaccine. And just if you hear the word egg or cell recombinant base, that doesn't really matter. They're both trivalent vaccines. They're protecting against 3 different strains of the flu. The CDC has the most updated information, and they're constantly updating it daily with trends, who's getting the flu, what we need to look out for. The big shipment from like where they ship the vaccine, that has been shipped out. So it's just being distributed to major pharmacies and retailers. So by the end of September, early October, this new 2024 to 2025 vaccine will be readily available. Right now, there are some places that have it, but if you go to get a flu shot right now, you might be getting the 2023 to 2024 vaccine, which will still protect you against a lot of the flu. If you're not going to be able to get the vaccine in October and you're like, okay, I got to get it now, it's the only week I can get it now. They may or may not have the most recent up-to-date vaccine, but the vaccine that they have will still be pretty effective against most strains. It doesn't change too much every single year. So flu season runs from October to May, but the peak is December to February. by the end of October, we try to make sure everyone's vaccinated. And within the next few weeks, the flu vaccine, the new one, should be readily available in most places. One thing to note is that when you get the flu vaccine, oftentimes people get a little bit sick and everybody gets worried. Oh my God, do I have the flu? But the side effects that you're feeling from the flu vaccine are so much milder than the actual flu. When you have the actual flu, I can speak from experience, it's not a fun time. And yes, for the vaccine, you might feel a little bit of symptoms for like 1 to 2 days, but they'll go away and they're so much milder. If you get the actual flu, those symptoms are so much worse. And the reason that you might get some symptoms is because this is still challenging your immune system. When you get sick, your body creates these like little cells, and I think of them as like little warrior cells, and they come and they build up and they try to fight this virus that's come into your body. And so when you get the vaccine, they're going to try to fight that vaccine. They're getting strong. They're learning how to fight the flu. And so because of that, you might experience a little bit of symptoms. So you might get a little bit of a headache. You might feel a little down. You might get some redness or swelling in the area where you got the injection, and your body might hurt a little bit. And you might even get a little bit of a fever. But all that is good. It means your body's working hard to learn how to build an immune response in case you get the actual flu. And it's also ensuring that when you do get the flu, yes, you might have gotten a little bit sick for like 24 hours from the flu vaccine, but when you get the actual flu, it ensures that you'll be a lot more protected and you'll be able to get over it a lot quicker. One thing that I will note is that the flu vaccine helps prevent serious complications and hospitalizations. But again, the flu is constantly morphing and there are so many strains of the flu that you may still get sick after getting a flu shot. So say you were already a little bit sick or you had some flu virus in you. If you get the vaccine, you might still get the flu because you already had it in you. You might have not responded fully to the vaccine. The vaccine that you got might have not covered the strain of the flu that you're exposed to. Sometimes immunocompromised individuals, so we say those are individuals over the age of 65 usually who have other health conditions and it's harder for them to mount an immune response. They might get sick still after getting the flu shot. But nothing in life is like 100%, okay, I got the flu shot, I'm never going to get the flu this season. I can't say that, but however, it is so much more likely that if you come into contact with one of the strains that you got vaccinated against, you won't get sick by it. So that is why vaccines are so important, and that is why I get vaccinated and I tell all my patients to get vaccinated because it can help prevent serious complications and hospitalizations like we talked about before, the pneumonia, the shortness of breath, the sinus infection. So that's why we really stress vaccination. Rather than ending up in the hospital or getting super sick from the flu, you might only have like a day of just feeling a little bit down, where somebody who wasn't vaccinated will get a lot more sick. Where can you get the vaccine? You can go to your doctor or to any local pharmacy, CVS, Walgreens, and it should 100% be covered. Another place you can get it is Costco. You can get a vaccine at the Costco pharmacy too. And then there's a bunch of free clinics where you can also get the vaccine. So I listed them here. The East Harlem Health Outreach Partnership is the one where I'm at. So EHOP. And so we offer the flu vaccine too. As soon as we get our shipment, then we'll start offering it too. It's the new one for the 2024-2025 flu season. And then there's also the Fort Greene Health Center, which gives no cost immunizations. There's high availability for where you can get the flu vaccine. The CDC has like this locator. So if you just type in CDC, where can I get my vaccine? You can put in your zip code and it'll tell you the nearest place that has availability and has stock, and you can go get the vaccine.